Hey guys, so this is going to be my Lovecraft stories review, I guess. I read Shadows over Innsmouth and The Call of Cthulhu. I still want to read like The Mountains of Madness, Dunwich Horror, a couple of the other ones, but I got this from a Half Price Books here in Atlanta, and it's got a bunch of them in it. For me, I started with The Shadows over Innsmouth and looked up H.P. Lovecraft, and he is definitely racist. He named his dog the N word, things like that. Very, very. As you read the stories, you see it. It's not deeply apparent, but when you kind of look at the way he talks about people, it's very much us versus them, kind of anybody that is slightly different than the white man. Um, you try with like Edgar Rice Burroughs, you kind of try to take it as like this guy is just telling a story that was the way everyone spoke back then. You kind of try to take it in stride, but then you do the research on Lovecraft and you go, yeah, this guy was definitely racist. One of the things I noticed about these two stories is that they felt like the start of a scary story and then they just ended. It was not like one of those where it's like, oh, okay, here's the story, here we go through it, and then boom, here's a conclusion and an ending. The Shadows over Innsmouth, we have a traveler who is going to this town. Basically, he's kind of like on a fun year between high school and college, kind of how it feels, and he's traveling around northeast United States, kind of like New England area. And as he's going through the area, he hears about this town, Innsmouth. And things are weird. He gets really curious about it, wants to look it up, goes to the local library, sees this beautiful tiara-looking thing, hears about like a ship captain that basically was like the grandfather of the town, who might have been into some piracy. And then there's like this big giant rock that's out in the water. And so he gets real curious about it. Fishing is better there than everywhere else, but if you try to fish there, they'll run you off, that kind of thing. And then you get the description of everything that goes on. The story, probably my favorite part of the story is he talks to an older man who is generally a drunk. But, and so you give him some alcohol and he kind of tells you a story about the town. And it was great setup. It was like everything you need to do to get you to the setup part. And then The Shadows of Innsmouth actually has a little bit more of the scary part of the story, but it was like crammed right at the end. And I could see where it would maybe have been scary. But I think Lovecraft stories are better if you're excited about the crafting of this story, right? The idea that this is the story that kind of creates this mythos, like the whatever he's got, right? I don't know. It's hard when you look at it, and I just didn't enjoy the story as much as I hoped to, as much as I wanted to. I was not scared at all, and that sometimes really diminishes when you go into a story wanting to, hey, this is like cosmic horror. This is what everybody talks about and says it's going to be so great and so amazing. And then you get there and it's just, eh. And then when you get into Call of Cthulhu, you've got this guy, and he comes in, he inherits a home from his uncle, and he has this story given to him. His uncle died suddenly. Some spoilers if you go into that some more for the end of the story, kind of why his uncle died. And it even mentions that he probably would have destroyed this if he knew he was getting close to the end. But he died suddenly, so he didn't destroy it. And he starts going through all this research, looking up all these people, finding all these stories. It's generally our character that we're learning from. He doesn't encounter any of this personally, but he finds different stories. He finds stories about a cult in Louisiana that's trying to bring back the great old ones, Cthulhu. And then he finds a story of a sailor who goes to an island that rose up from the sea, and a bunch of stuff happens there, and then that guy dies, and then so like all the people involved in this die, and it's the start of a great horror story. But it doesn't feel like you get the end. You get all of the lead up to what a story could be and would be, and all the things that great world building, and then it just stops. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to write all this down, and then I might die. And for me, it wasn't enjoyable because it was incomplete. It felt incomplete to me. Maybe there's the mythos gets bigger and bigger as you read all the other stories. It's hard in a short story to tell a long story, and I understand that, but I expected so much more. I expected this to be something glorious, something wonderful. I'm going to keep reading these short stories. Try to see here which ones I've got left. I've heard At the Mountains of Madness is good. Beyond the Wall of Sleep, The White Ship, The Cats of Uthar. That one might be good. Nerothanlep. I don't know. The Temple, The Other Gods, The Hound, The Lurking Fear, The Rats in the Walls, The Unnameable, The Festival, The Shunned House, Cool Air, A Red Call of Cthulhu, Pickman's Model, The Strange High House in the Mist, The Dunwich Horror. That one's one I hear a lot. Whisper in Darkness. We've got one by Robert E. Howard, The Black Stone. The Thing on the Roof by Robert E. Howard. At the Mountains of Madness, chapters 1 through 11. Or is that 1 and 2? Might be 1 and 2. The Hunters from Beyond by Clark Ashton Smith. The Shadows over Innsmouth, which I read. The Dreams in the Witch House. The Thing on the Doorstep. The Shadow Out of Time. The Haunter in the Dark. And then there's some biographies and some sources. But I mean, it does have really pretty inner pages. And there's a description, forward Lovecraft short stories, kind of tells you about it. And then, some better artwork there. It's a nice little book. It's done by Flame Tree Publishing. But yeah, I'm going to keep messing with it. And I think it's going to be one of those where I, might find something very, very enjoyable out of it. But I just didn't see it in this story. Or these two stories. I just didn't see it in these two stories. I didn't see why it's this big deal. I didn't understand why everybody I didn't understand why everybody reveres Lovecraft as this genius of horror, cosmic horror even. So hey, let me know what you think. Give me a comment down below. Tell me where I'm going wrong. Tell me what I'm missing here that I'm just not quite understanding. Because I didn't find it that good. I didn't find it that enjoyable. And it was 3 stars at best for both of them. And that's what I gave them on Goodreads. So if you guys like what I do here, please comment down below. Subscribe if you'd like to. And I hope you guys enjoy reading a book today. See ya. Bye.